Frank Lampard's position is now under threat.
Yeah.
Which I suppose, bearing in mind what we've just seen on the one hand and what Chelsea have done to previous coaches down the years, understandable. But I still struggle with that suggestion. I mean, aside from the fact that I like him.
Does he have to fear for his job, you mean?
Yes.
Why?
Well, recent results and the fact they're sitting 8th after a £250 million spend in the summer, that would be one very good reason I would suggest.
There's one of your reasons, maybe the main reason. I think when you spend £222 million and you're not far off from the place that you were last year, what was it, 3 or 4 points off? I think from the place that they were last year after 17 games. I think that's worrying, not even also for him, for his players, but also as an organization that Chelsea is. So, when you're taking a hot seat at one of the top 4 teams, you're always in a position to lose your job, or there will be rumors for you to be replaced if you don't do well after 17 games. So, that's the situation that he has to be in, and he has to change it around real quick in the next upcoming games in order to have a safe position for himself, and not have the breathing of the organization in his neck saying like, you might be changed.
Football has changed, Richard, dramatically over the years in many aspects. Many of them very, very good, some of them not so. I think we live in a world of immediacy now more than ever, and particularly in this sport. We've played 17 games this season. So who's been under threat? Arteta was the first one under threat. All of a sudden, Mikel Arteta's, wonderful. 3 games in a row, halfway up the league, everyone's happy, brilliant. Now he's the top coach again. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, from day one this season, has been under threat, tipped to be the first manager out on numerous occasions when they lost to
Palace.
Red Bull. Was it Red?
Yeah,
Leipzig,
Istanbul,
Leipzig,
yeah.
When they went out of the Champions League, you thought, well, there's a chance there. Everyone said he's got to go. You can't go out of the Champions League when you've won your first 3 games and lost your last 3. Now Ole is second in the league, playing really good football. Everything's rosy in the house. Frank last year, fantastic season, great season. Champions League football without really bringing anybody in, and then given, Silva, Werner, Zajcek, Havertz, Mendy, Chilwell, 6 massive players to just push them that extra. And now, because of the results he's had, he's under pressure. But it's immediacy. He wins the next game, wins the next. Where does that attention go? It'll drift onto somebody else. Mourinho's even had pressure this year. I just think it's the world we live in. We have to be careful because that's what it is. The social media demands immediacy, if you want, more than anything, more than ever. And Frank's under pressure. But Nigel's right. If you spend 220 million, and I don't know how much input Frank had in the players, would you think would he have bought them? Would he have influence?
My guess would be he would have had a huge influence.
Massive. I tend to think so, but I'm not sure.
I think he would have influence in his because it is Lampard. It is the way how he did last year, the confidence that I have in him also for this year, and of course that he knows the organization, he knows how the club works. So I think as a coach as well, he would say, listen, if you want to bring in players, I want to be known of, because at the end of the day, I have to work with them, and not the organization, not the board members. So that said, yes. And what I said to you as well before is, when you step in a seat of one of the greatest clubs or one of the top clubs in England, there's always going to be a speculation when you don't have results, and everything happens also with results. The opinion can change like that with the results.
That's what I'm saying.
What you said as well with Arteta. So with Solskjaer right at the moment, but can also be flip back again. So that's football, that's the way we live. And I don't really think, of course, social media is going to be a big impact nowadays. But I don't think it really changed from back in the days when you were still playing, if there were no results. I think a lot of players or a lot of coaches would be still be under pressure.
Under as much pressure as they seem to be now, because tonight, the game's just finished. It's out, everything's out there. Whack, bang, bang, bang. But you also have to be careful when you're a team like Chelsea. I mean, you're right about one thing, Richard, you talk about people getting a chance in time. And Chelsea are not renowned for being patient with any coach. No. I mean, Roman Abramovich has had more coaches than most. They're almost the Premier League Watford, if you want. They change coaches very quickly and often. So that doesn't bode well for Frank if things aren't going well. But I just think it needs to be, sometimes you need to take a balanced view on it and just say, well, where are Chelsea? You know, are they that bad? Are they knocked out the Champions League? No. Still in there. Okay, they've got a tough tie. They've got Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid in the knockout stages, not easy, be difficult, but not unbeatable. So they're still very active in Europe. They're in the top 8 at the moment, where there is, 5 points between 8th and 2nd, or 8th and 3rd, something like that. They're certainly not out the race for Champions League football. So I just think, a little bit of tranquilo. Just as far as Chelsea are concerned.
I almost hate to ask this because I said earlier when talking to Nigel about players needing to be able to settle, to be given the time to understand the culture and the league that they're playing in. I don't have things like the weather, but it is a factor. But how many of those that he signed do you think he would go back and sign again?
Wow. Well, not knowing Frank's mind. I think if you asked Frank Lampard that himself...
All right, then let me put that another way that's a whole lot easier. How many of those do you think he shouldn't have signed?
Well, it's easy now to sit here after 17 games and say, all right, let's say, who's been a success then? Rather than who should he have not signed. If we say who's been a success. Mendy, we don't know about yet. I don't think he's played enough games to judge. Right? He's been okay. So, hard to judge. Chilwell, yes. I think Ben Chilwell's been a success. Fair?
Yeah.
To a far greater degree than Alonso, who was playing there and
I think
scored the occasional goal.
I think for the future, better than Alonso, more of a future. Happy with that. Thiago Silva, yes. Need a leader. Someone who's been there, seen it, done it most of his life.
36.
I know, but temporary.
Paris said best days are gone.
Yeah, temporary, but there to help younger players around. I like that. Ziyech, you like him?
Yeah, I like him, yeah.
You think
he will be a success, yeah, definitely. I mean,
But-
what I've seen and the qualities that he has, he will be a success, yeah, definitely.
Havertz?
Till
I've
now-
seen nothing
till
from him.
Till now, no. You
No.
know, I've seen
I mean
nothing.
that.
Yeah.
I hate to say that about a player who costs, 80 million?
Yeah,
pounds?
80 million pounds, yeah.
I've seen...
But as I say, it's always easy to say, sit here right now after 70 games and judge
That's why
about
I
players.
hesitated, Nigel.
Of course.
But others will, and Chelsea fans also,
Yeah.
more than most, will be
Yeah.
asking, well, what have we done
But
here?
that comes also with the price tag that you have as a player. That comes with the expectation for playing for a club like Chelsea. You know, making that move from a smaller club coming into the Premier League for a bigger club. You know the expectation is going to be high, and you have to perform in a heartbeat. You have to perform in a space of 5 to 6 months. And if you don't do that, people will question you. Is there the right qualities for the club? Is the price tag too high? Is he the right person? Is there the right personality to play in the Premier League? And now we have in a situation with Chelsea, who doesn't have a lot of patience, which you said as well. They have a president that doesn't have a lot of patience, and he has a club that is still searching. And what we said before as well, if you have to pick your best 11 right now, I don't think Lampard knows.
Werner. I knew you hadn't forgot. Werner, now, listen, what I will say about Timo Werner, when he played his first half dozen...
Looked fantastic.
Exactly. So we've seen little cameos of the best of Timo Werner, right? He's going through a spell, and all goal scorers do. It's natural. You know, it's more obvious in that position than any other, because you can be a creative midfield player and get away with not scoring goals and finding little passes here or there. You can get away as a defensive N'Golo Kante player with having a few bad games. You can cover that up. Defenders, unless you're making rick after rick, you can get away with it. But if you're not scoring goals, if you're not hitting the back of the net and you've cost a fortune and you're bought to do that, then it's noticeable.
But you see, just a point Nigel made, last season they knew what they'd got, he knew what he was working with and towards. Young men got chances, and we all applauded the fact that that was happening. Chelsea hadn't spent, that they were embracing what they were bringing through from within. You almost get the feeling he's confused himself and them by spending as he has, by bringing the numbers in that he has. They wouldn't be the first to do it. I mean, who was it said this season, the best player Spurs have signed since selling Gareth Bale is Gareth Bale. I mean, there's a lot of clubs wasted a lot of money, isn't there, down the years?
If I look at those players, right, and you say to me, at the time, Frank's finished fourth with a young bunch of kids. Great, right? He doesn't want to go through another season with them, with the best will in the world. He's then told, you can have money to spend. why on earth, Richard, would he not want to go and get some of the, at the time and still in the future, some of the best talent in Europe?
Because he didn't know what to do with it.
Well, no, he hasn't yet. Now, it might be the pandemic. It might be the fact that they're not training on a normal, regular basis. They're not playing on a normal, regular basis. So he's still finding out about his best team, his best players, where they are. But there's not one of them, I don't think,
With the potential to be great.
No, but I wouldn't have bought at that time.
No.
At that time, Nigel.
For sure,
Werner
for sure.
And
Havertz.
Havertz.
Revelations
They
in the
played for Germany.
Bundesliga. They
The
play for
Germany
Germany.
first choices.
There were revelations in the Bundesliga.
Ziyech
was a revelation that Ajax was the main man. Yeah.
Ben Chilwell, you'd buy him.
Buy him.
Top left back.
That's why I said it's
Joe
always.
Linton was terrific in the Bundesliga.
No, but these guys are. You're talking about a different
I'm
level.
sorry, I'm just saying, can we judge?
There's a completely
Can we
different.
judge because someone's had a good season
Talking about a different
in
level.
the Bundesliga?
Different label. You can't compare Joe Linton with Werner or with Havertz or with Ziyech at this point. But what I said, it's easier to talk now, of course, because we've seen 17 games of Chelsea right now, and I see how they play. But again, a certainty is he still needs to find his best 11. Does he got the time for it? We don't know. We can only tell. But I think what you said as well is really important that Chelsea shows balance inside the team and give confidence to Lampard as well.
Personally, I hope they give him the time. I think it would be the wrong thing to do to pull the rug away
Me
now.
too.
He's a bright young thing, and we think a lot of him. And I think Chelsea fans do as well.
And never forget, he's still learning. I know it's hard for Chelsea fans to maybe say, well, we've no time for a manager who he can't learn on the job. We want a Mourinho. We want somebody who's finished. We want an Ancelotti.
Everybody learns on the job.
Yeah, I know that, but they want an Ancelotti. They want somebody who's been there, done it, won things, knows what it's about, put him in and everything's great and rosy in the garden. No, build something. Build something. Just for a change. Build something.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody will talk about this game next week if you get 3 points on the board.
There you go.
Maurizio Sarri's unemployed.